have you back. It was so good to see you at CPAC last week. How did that go for you?
I was just about to say, I feel like I haven't seen you in years.
I know. It's like a family reunion when you go to CPAC or events like that.
Yeah, it went well. I didn't spend, as much time as I usually do at the actual CPAC. And part of that reason, the main reason, was because we were actually out there filming videos for this new masterclass / e-workbook coming out called Our Time to Run. So we were doing a lot of that work. We got all of it done. So I'm happy about that.
Oh, good. Well, let's go right to it. So talk about Our Time to Run. I had the asset set up there so people could see the cover of the book, but talk to us about that.
Yeah, me and my partners created a company called Be American shortly after the 2022 election. I always get confused with the dates, but yes, 2022 election. And basically, we have a lot of things going. We have the book coming under Be American. We started a foundation called the Darius Mayfield Foundation, focusing on education and closing the transportation gap. And we got a lot of other things going. But with the book, that's the closest thing to being completed. We're looking at that coming out within the next few weeks, sometime in the month of March. We're just wrapping some things up right now. We will have pre-sales going live pretty soon, which will give people access to the actual masterclass and book for half the price of what it would normally cost. Okay. But basically, as we know, as most people know, the first time I ever voted in my life was in 2016 in the presidential election, first time. And I think a lot of people got inspired around that time. Since 2016, you've seen a lot of regular, everyday Americans asking a lot of questions as to how they get involved, how they run for office, what they do. It's probably the most common thing I've ever heard. People just asking, what are the steps to take? What do I do? People that want to run for school board, city council, mayor, even Congress, state assembly, things of that sort. So we thought to ourselves, well, we have all these people asking, why don't we actually give them an answer? And why don't we help them out? So basically what this will be is a master class on how to run for office, no matter if it's a local office like your school board office, or if it's a federal national office like Congress. And basically we will go through different steps, different modules, different chapters to show you everything from who you should hire, how you should go about hiring them, what type of consultants you need, looking at the data and analyzing the data to figure out, what you need to do to figure out, how to bring success to the campaign, everything, touching on fundraising, everything. And the great thing about it is it's interactive. So we will continue to be adding on to this book as well. So we'll start to dive deeper and deeper as you have your subscription over the months, where we'll start drilling into things like FEC rules for different states and how they affect different states, so you know exactly where to go to look up the information for your state and what you need to know as far as FEC rules. That won't be in the first iteration of the masterclass and book, but as we move on, those will be add-ons that people will have access to. But we'll have a masterclass once a week with your subscription that people will be able to go to, as well as private communities on places like Facebook and different things where we can all interact. We can ask questions and do such things. And then we'll do one live Zoom call per month to start off with all of our subscribers if they want to join, where they'll be able to ask us questions, talk, everything. So it's just going to really be a masterclass and just really showing everyday regular Americans what they need to do and how to run for office.
That's the everyday Americans. That's exactly it. Because I was just talking about this ongoing child abuse issue that is happening in the neighboring county to where I live, and parental rights and what is happening there. And you have everyday Americans who just want to put food on their table and make sure their kids are educated and make sure they're keeping their head above water. And then their child comes home and says, "Mommy, I was fondled in the bathroom." And so it's like you have these parents who are saying, okay, we are everyday Americans. What do we do with that? And it rises, people are rising to say, okay, I'm ready to run. I'm ready to take, this school board back. I'm ready to take back this General Assembly. I was one of those candidates. I said, I'm ready to run. I've always worked on campaigns behind the scenes. And I'm saying, I'm sick of the VA. I'm ready to run and take out the VA and change things over there. So you have so many everyday Americans who are passionate, who are convicted about what is happening in their backyards, whether it's Jersey, whether it's North Carolina, or whether it's California. So I applaud you for doing that. What really was that turning point for you after the election for you? Was it saying, okay, I have this great template. I'm ready to get started. And this is something I want to inspire everyday Americans to say they can do it too. What was that turning point for you?
Yeah, I think it started even before that. Probably when again in 2016, when I voted for the first time, and then just seeing, the next few years, kind of how that progressed. One of the things I often like to refer to, people don't remember, I think it was 2018 when we had the first midterm elections during Donald Trump's presidency. And I remember a headline saying the most amount of teachers and scientists are running for office ever, right? And in a lot of cases, these were people that were maybe, didn't necessarily like the current administration, but it inspired people to get out and do something. So when I saw that, I knew something like that was coming with the election. Donald Trump, whether you loved him or you hated him, he was going to inspire you to do something because he's that magnetic of a figure. Right. So when I saw that, I'm like, this is what I've been dreaming of. This is what I seen coming. So how do we help people like that? Because again, as I was on the trail, going to different events, doing things, I would have people ask me all the time, how do I get started in politics? A lot of people, especially as you were talking about school boards and things of that sort. What a lot of people don't realize is here in New Jersey, in 2021, when we had our gubernatorial races and everything, New Jersey Republicans, and even though this is not a partisan, this is not a partisan program. We don't care who you are. We have Democratic quotes in there. I have Democrats that have done some of the videos as well as Republicans. So this is for everybody, right? If you want to run. But in 2021, here in New Jersey, Republicans flipped over 100 local seats here, school boards, city councils, things of that sort. And during that time, there was just so many people that just asked, what do we do? How do we run? We could have even flipped more seats if some of those people had the answers to those questions, because they were motivated like yourself and like I was to do it. They just didn't know how to start and what to do. And to be honest with you, once you start kind of diving into it a little bit, it's really not that hard of a process as long as you know what to do and where to go to actually look. So I think during that time, during the Trump administration, during my time running, I just started getting the questions so much and just seeing so many people that were motivated, just regular, everyday people, stay-at-home moms, fathers, uncles, everybody that were so motivated. We're like, and the interesting thing, what we found out for this, there's nothing out there like this. There's no book that you can go get that shows people how to run for office. You can Google a couple of things and people will give you little tidbits here and there, but there's no comprehensive book or no comprehensive masterclass. So we'll literally be the first ones doing this.
Oh, wow. Well, let me ask you this. So with this masterclass, what are the steps? You said it's coming out next month?
Yeah, later this month.
Later this month. And where can people buy the book and how do they subscribe? What's that whole process?
So everything is being built in the back end right now. We actually just started getting our drafts for the website and the sales tunnel. It looks absolutely great, so professional. But you'll be able to go to www.ourtimetorun.com, and that's where you'll be able to subscribe, pre-order, everything right there on that website once it's actually launched.
And then talk to me about your foundation. I heard your interview with Ed Henry when you were at CPAC, and I heard you talk about the foundation focus on education. What does that look like? That really encouraged me, and I was excited to hear, when is that officially launching and what kind of education tools are you providing?
Yeah, so we've already launched. We have about a 10, 11 person board already that we're, building up. We've been conducting our monthly meetings. So we're still very much just getting things together behind the scenes, collecting bios, making sure we vote the right people in, make sure we get our agenda straight. But the mission of the Darius Mayfield Foundation is to bring quality education and school choice to diverse American communities while lowering the transportation gap in underserved rural and urban cities across America. So, one of the things I saw when walking the streets of places like Trenton, New Jersey, one of the first Republicans to really get out there and engage minority Democrat, mostly Democrat voters, because I understood that they were sick of everything going on. A lot of times we think these people are just putting themselves in these positions, but just think about it. Nobody really wants to live in the conditions that a lot of these people live in. And it's because, they don't have the right people people being voted into office, and the people that are there in office are so corrupt that they don't care about their needs. And the people that live in these areas understand these things. So when we went out there to actually start knocking on doors and talking to them, they became very frank and very honest with us. And one of the issues that they highlighted, multiple parents, was the fact that in Trenton, New Jersey, if you live within 2 miles of your school, they don't provide you a school bus, right? So we know in a place like Trenton, New Jersey, that could be pretty detrimental for any child, because now they're forced to walk a couple miles to school when you're walking through violent, sometimes drug-infested areas. So you're getting recruited by this one, while other kids just never even leave the house to go because it's such a haul, and they just, they just don't make it to school. They don't want to walk through those conditions, whatever it is, because whether it's because of the weather, whether it's because of what's going on out there, whatever it is. So it really hires the absentee rates in schools like that. It really starts to, dissuade kids from even attempting to get a quality education. It puts a lot of pressure on the parents who are trying to do their best and sometimes work 2-3 jobs at a time, and they just can't keep their hands on everything, like making sure their kids get to school. So what we wanted to do was come up with solutions to try and help these problems. And again, it's not just in urban areas like Trenton, but we also identified these things in underserved rural areas, because a lot of people often leave out the rural areas, which happen in a lot of cases to be just as poor as some of these urban areas. In places like Morristown, New Jersey, we found out from our board members, Barbara, who's a school bus driver out there, that they have the same problem in Morristown, New Jersey. And in fact, their kids have to walk along these crowded highways, these railroad tracks where there's a bunch of nowadays a lot of illegal immigrants sitting on the side of the road waiting for people to pick them up for construction jobs, and you got kids walking through this stuff. So basically what we decided to do is come up with a solution. Our first solution being to obviously shed a light on the issue. So what we're trying to do right now is secure funding to shoot a documentary where we go into some of these areas like the Trentons, like the Morristowns, and put a documentary together by interviewing school board members, students, teachers, Board of Education members, to really just put something together to actually shed a light on this whole thing. And the second thing being for us to actually create some type of a ride sharing app, which we are actively working on right now. In the last month, we've met with about 10 or 11 different congressmen and women and their teams in DC. The last one just being last week, we had 4 meetings with people like Van Drew, Tom Keene, Congressman D'Esposito. So we've been sitting down with their teams, and they're actually actively engaged with us. We've actually got them to all pledge their support, to write letters of support for us, to secure grants for this issue and different things of that sort. In 2 weeks, we got another 5 or 6 meetings. So we're on the Hill. We're meeting with congressmen and women. And basically, we're looking to create a app that we partner with some local ride sharing companies, where we can create an app to give to parents in these communities, where their kids can just sign on to this app and receive free rides to and from school every single day. So there's a lot more obviously that goes into it. It's a little bit more intricate than that. But we're literally just trying to find solutions for this problem, which is a big problem in certain areas. And on the education side, as you guys know, I'm a big proponent of school choice. Big proponent of making sure kids get the education that they deserve. So we got a couple of things coming up right now. We're actually partnering with a bunch of the students in one of the charter schools in Trenton right now to bring a dance competition to Trenton, New Jersey, a dance competition fundraiser soon. So we got a lot of exciting stuff that we're lined up. So the main objective is just to go into these communities that have been forgotten by a lot of our elected officials, and really show them that you don't always need government to solve your problems, that we're going to come in and we're going to help you guys think of creative solutions to make sure we can come in and get some of these problems taken care of, like making sure we can fund people to go to private schools, charter schools, and making sure we can help close that transportation gap.
Oh, wow. I have so many ideas in my head right now. My wheels are spinning because I'm so excited about what you're doing.
We might need to bring you on the board.
I would love to. I would love to, because I'm sitting here thinking about what my friends are doing in Brooklyn for some of the schools. And I'm also sitting here thinking about the fact that there are the Bowery mission in New York really focuses on homeless kids and making sure those kids are taken care of in so many different forms and fashions. And you were right across the bridge to be able to do that. And then I sit here and think about the Blue Network and Barbara from Harlem and BB Reed, and they live in Trenton. BB lives in Trenton, not to give away too much, but that she knows what she resonates with what you have said. And
Yeah.
I've heard her talk about that on her show, on our Urban
Love
Story.
Barbara and BB. Shout out to Barbara and BB. I love those women.
They
Awesome.
are two of my favorite gal pals. Oh my goodness. Whether I get to see them or not, it's kind of like, you know, every couple months or something like that. But oh my word, those women, they are women of faith. They love Jesus so much, but they love our country and they want to save it. And I just
I gave her nickname, right? I gave
No
her
way. Are you serious?
Yeah, the godmother of conservatism. I gave her that
I
nickname.
did not know that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, she is a gift to all of us. She is a gift from God for sure. So yes, let me know. We'll talk offline because I would love to. I'd love to make some connections and things like that. One thing you had mentioned about the fact that these kids are unable to, they have to walk to get to school, depending on whatever areas they're in. And you had talked about the immigrants waiting for their rides, their jobs. I'm sitting here thinking about the drugs. I'm sitting here thinking about fentanyl and the issues that we have with the opioid addiction and all of that, and the human trafficking piece. So you're not only just protecting them from, you're trying to get them to get their education, but there's so many other major mainstream issues that are happening there, literally in our nation's backyard. You don't have to be in Texas to be considered a border state with everything that's happening in New York, New Jersey. So
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I think, you know, in those situations, especially the people on the bad side of things, so like the cartels, the drug dealers, the people that are violent, they're even more emboldened now, especially under administration like this, where they're calling to defund police when our borders being overrun. I mean, we saw what just happened in Mexico. You just had 4 Americans, you know, 3 Americans get killed and, you know, just crossing the border. So we're in very dangerous times right now. And those dangerous times, you know, absolutely, you know, relate to the communities that we're talking about, like the Trenton, New Jerseys, because as they get more emboldened, the drug dealers in place and people in places like that, the kids suffer more and more. You know, it might sound cliche, but it's a real thing when kids are walking to school, walking throughout these communities, and they start getting recruited, you know, by these gangs, by these cartels and things of that sort. And with things getting so heightened now and being so much worse, and with quality of education decreasing, these things are becoming more and more familiar to kids in these areas. And you have more and more people dropping off, not getting a quality education, and starting to put their foot into the streets and get involved in the wrong things. And as quality of education decreases more, you're just going to have more and more instances of this. And if you have kids that literally can't get rides to school for whatever reason, because they can't get a bus, their parents are at work, or their parents or just don't have a car in these communities, you're going to have more and more kids being recruited, more and more kids trying to walk to school and just falling into the traps and falling into the real things. And more of these other people just being emboldened to really just keep coming after these kids as they are, to, you know, bring them over to those sides and have them doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So, you know, it really is a problem, something that's probably not highlighted enough. And I understand that, because not everybody comes from those conditions. Not everybody lives in those conditions. I actually do. I come from New Brunswick, New Jersey. You know, I come from the hood. I grew up in these conditions, so I can identify with it. I've seen it. You know, somebody asked me yesterday, had I ever been chased with a gun? I got chased with a gun throughout my apartments at like 9 or 10 years old. You know, I think about it now and I think about what had happened. I didn't think too much of it. It was just kind of normal for us. But thinking back on it, those things aren't normal, and no kid should have to go through those things. But unfortunately, nowadays, it's even more common than when it was back then, because of the policies of, you know, our elected leaders, because of the horrible job they've done with maintaining these communities and really giving people the resources that they deserve. And one of the things that really just baffles me sometimes is I talk about things like school choice, right? Which I'm a big proponent for. You always see, you know, Democrats stand up against that immediately. But when you go into these actual areas and talk to those parents that actually vote for a lot of these Democratic politicians, they want it. They understand. They're tired of waiting. You know, a Democrat solution is always, well, they're trying to take money out of the public school system. Well, what are you doing to make sure we're not losing generation after generation after generation after generation? Because that's what's happening every single year. So people like myself are tired of the talk. We're tired of seeing those things. And unless you guys come up with something better, why don't we just give these parents the school choice that they actually deserve, so that they can at least start giving some of their kids the educational opportunity that they deserve? Exactly.
Well, I have one final question for you. You going to run again?
Yeah, we've actually already refiled.
Did you?
Starting they've already started email fundraising for me, but I'll be
Good.
jumping on calls within like
Good.
the next month or so. So we're definitely gonna get back into that this year. I'm definitely gonna focus more on the foundation and the business things that we have, so I can be set for next year. But yes, I will be back in 2024, and I will be running for Congress in the 12th district again.
Oh, fabulous. I can't wait to support you there too. I was thinking about going to a seat at the table at the end of April with Elizabeth and Common Sense Club. Will you be there presenting your book as well?
Possibly. I keep hearing about that. You're like the third or fourth person in just last week. Ed Durr hit me up. Senator Ed Durr hit me up. He's like, "Are you going?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." I mean, I wasn't able to make it last week. Last year, I think I was away or something. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely love. I love what they're doing. I know that's the New Jersey version of CPAC, so I'm very proud of them for sticking with it, because people start things sometimes and they don't, keep going. So to see that it's coming back, and see that their dish is strong, I'm very happy and very proud about that. And yes, you guys should probably see me there.
Good, good. Well, Darius Mayfield, author of Our Time to Run, coming out later this month. Make sure you check it out. And who was previously a candidate for Congress from New Jersey and is now refiled. And I cannot wait to see you across that finish line. I look forward to seeing you again. Many blessings to you, my friend. Thank you for what you're doing.
Listen, not black, not white American. We're all just American. It's our time to run. We're going to get it.
It is our time to run. And I think you've inspired me, because I do want to get back in. It's just a matter of where.
Absolutely. And you should. And maybe you'll pick up our book too, and to give you some, tips on how to just even push it further. So you definitely have my support. I appreciate you having me on. I know you're a great common sense patriot. So thank you for everything you do, and don't slow down at all. Let's just keep pushing the envelope, because it is our time. And I truly and honestly believe that.
For such a time as this, let's do it. So thank you, my friend. I will see you soon. God bless you.